Hey guys, Kirsten with Fieldcraft. Today we're going to test the Byrna gun. So this is a non-lethal or a less than lethal option to carry that shoots either OC and CS projectiles or just a projectile that is meant more for pain compliance. So right now we're going to test the projectile only. That does not include OC and CS inside of it. It's just, it feels like kind of a harder plastic. So here we go. How'd it feel?
Barely felt it.
Really? So this is what it ended up releasing. It was just a little bit of white powder inside, but the outside is definitely a plastic, a hard plastic. And thankfully John's all suited up. He wasn't willing to do it without any kind of protection. I don't know why, but obviously this would be a situation where you're looking purely for that pain compliance. And then we're going to test the OC next, which I think is going to give us a little bit more what we're looking for that non-lethal, less than lethal option. Part of your arsenal, you always want to have a firearm too, but if you're not comfortable with that, that's okay. This is a good alternative if you're not ready to carry that lethal force. Totally understandable. This is a good gateway drug, as I like to jokingly say, because you can practice what it would feel like carrying an actual firearm, but not have that lethal issue to deal with yet. Okay, now we're going to shoot John again with just projectile, but we're going to do a couple in a row so that you can see how quickly this gun can function. Hopefully I aim well for his benefit. Feel it? No. I want to take the armor off so that we know how it feels. You've been shot with the projectile. You can see some of the indentations that it's caused. It actually ripped part of the suit here, and you have double protection
double on.
Because we knew that it's a projectile and it's meant to cause just that physical pain from being hit with like piece of plastic, piece of rubber. What did it feel like to you with all that protection? What do you think it would have felt like if you didn't have that protection?
Yeah, so even with all this on, I mean, when it was hitting my chest, it felt like someone was punching me in the stomach, punching me in the chest. The first one, I would have definitely just dropped.
Yeah.
I would have been on the ground. I've been like, I'm done.
Now we're going to just test an inert shot. So it's the same form as you would use with the OC and CS powder, but instead it's just an inert powder. And we're going to shoot Jerry in the leg without any kind of protection, just to see what that purely the physical reaction is to getting hit with this at about 10 yards.
We're not taking one to the chest.
Yeah, I told you. I told you. So, tell me how that felt.
Oh, it stings. Is that live?
I don't think so.
I got the. It hurts.
Yeah, it's live.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's live.
I grabbed the inert once. Yeah, it's inert.
You sure? I got tasted something.
Yeah.
Well, it's the inert one, so we're all just being babies. We're at about 10 to 15-ish yards, not that far, probably less than 15 yards. And it is already, within a minute, now it's causing swelling and bruising to the shot that I took. And that is purely just the projectile part. That's not even the one that's meant to stay together and not to break. That was one that was the inert OCCS one, so it's meant to fall apart. So I can't even imagine how hard it would have hit if it was just the projectile one. So obviously you're going to have a decent pain compliance when dealing with that. Now Jerry's going to get shot with OC and CS, and we'll see how much of a compliance that is when he starts to cry. Okay, so we are going to now test the OCCS rounds, which look like this. So OC is what police officers use on their belt. It's the pepper spray. That's what's in it. So the difference is that this is the powdered form and it's not the liquid form. So when it hits, it's going to combust and release that powder into the airspace where Jerry will breathe it in and it'll get into his eyes and things like that. CS is a lot of times referred to as tear gas, which is exactly how it sounds, and it makes you want to cry. It releases all of the mucus and stuff in your body, and it's a really uncomfortable, terrible feeling, especially for somebody who hasn't trained in it and doesn't know how it feels or what's happening to them, and they feel like they can't breathe and can't open their eyes, and it's a terrible situation that thankfully Jerry is willing to get hit with again, because I've already pepper sprayed him once. So again, this is a mix of OC and CS, which is crazy because normally it's one or the other, right? So I'm very interested in how much this is going to destroy him physically and mentally and emotionally and probably spiritually as well. So the one thing I would like is a holster for this, but I don't have one right now. It would be a lot easier to be able to do a scenario for you and be able to retrieve from my holster, but I don't have a holster, so I'm just going to have it in my hand and just understand that that's part of the process of this because I don't have a holster to keep it in right now. I am also going to put a mask on because the inert ones everybody freaked out about with the powder, even though it was just inert powder, so I don't even want to know how bad this is going to be. So the Byrna just loads like a normal handgun, except there's no slide action. No part of this moves. The function of making this go forward, making the projectile move toward your target, is that CO2 tank. That's what makes it go. So there's no slide function or anything like that. You just load the magazine, and then you're going to use the safe and fire. It's pretty self-explanatory, and just take the safety off, and then it's ready to go. Ready?
Ready.
Was that good? Compared to the pepper spray, how does that feel?
Oh, it's getting worse. That takes a little bit. Takes a little bit longer to go into effect.
A little bit longer. How many? Like, it was pretty immediate with the pepper spray, so you're.
Yes.
This was like what, 10 seconds before you really started feeling it?
Yeah.
Okay.
But I think with a pain compliance, woo, if it really would have made me open my eyes and inhale faster
Right.
with the pain.
You can go wash off now. As you can see, it still gives us the effects that we're looking for. Jerry's still super affected by the OC and CS. He did say that it took a little bit longer for the effects to happen compared to the pepper spray when I sprayed him with the liquid pepper spray. However, he brought up a great point, which is that projectile is another aspect of it that he's not feeling right now because of the protection, but that would have been a huge kick and at least, at minimum, a shock to the perpetrator thinking, oh wow, what the heck just happened? As they're processing through that, now the powder is starting to affect, and they're going to get those next effects, which he said it took about 10 seconds. About 10 seconds. So that may be something to consider if you do use this in a less than lethal situation where, hey, you know, you may need to shoot a couple times to really get those effects to start happening sooner if you are under that kind of duress. I feel the effects of it from being standing off. I was about 10 to 15 or so feet, and I still feel the effects. So that's also something you really need to keep in mind if you're using it. Remember, wherever that powder goes, the effects are going to come with it. So be aware of that, and don't be surprised if you get a little bit of that backsplash because of using it. Just shift and move, try to get away from wherever the wind is blowing just to keep yourself completely safe from it. But pepper spray, what are your thoughts?
Pepper spray's worse.
The liquid's worse?
Liquid's definitely worse.
Yeah, because you're actually opening your eyes right now.
Yeah, like with the pepper spray, I had to force my eyes open physically. I couldn't open them.
Yeah, okay. If you are in a place where you really can't have a firearm, whether it's privately posted or whatever, you know, something like this is a solid option. It's better than nothing. It's also a good piece of your arsenal. We don't always rise to deadly force situations every time. Sometimes things happen progressively and we don't have the right to use deadly force to protect ourselves. So something like this in our arsenal would be super beneficial. After reviewing the footage, we realized that the wind was blowing the opposite direction, and that's why we got most of the powder and not Jerry. So he has graciously allowed me to shoot him one more time. And on top of it, he's not going to wear any body armor this time, so we can get the full understanding of what that impact is going to feel like for the bad guy when we shoot them. So bless him, and let's give it a try. All right, we're about 15 yards.
I don't know about the pepper, but that fucking hurt.
Are you okay?
Yeah.
Can we see how it, gosh! It broke, so as you can see, it broke skin. It's already bruising and swelling, and that literally just happened. So did you get any of the do you even realize, like, did you?
I didn't give to it wouldn't have mattered. That pain was more than I
Yeah.
didn't get any. I don't even know where the dust went, but I
So
didn't inhale any of it.
so now that you've had all three, pepper spray or this?
This is temporary. You could fight through this easier than pepper spray.
Pepper spray, okay. Where did the powder go? I didn't really
You had to look at it was blowing more that way.
Yeah. The wind's not working with us today. It's stormy out, but the pain compliance was immediate effect that was very obvious that did some damage. So how did it feel?
It hurt. It hurt a lot. It was probably the same as getting shot with a sim round,
Yeah. Okay.
but it's a bigger area. Sim rounds, obviously, they're smaller.
Right. Yeah. Oh, I'm getting the powder right now. A less than lethal option that is beneficial. They're rewatching the video and it's obviously hysterical. But Jerry's a heck of a trooper so that we can actually test this stuff for real because no one else is willing to do it, including myself. So again, Byrna, it's BYRNA, and there are two different kinds that you can purchase. One is legal in states like California, and then the other one's legal for everywhere else. So if you have any kind of laws restricting certain things, whether ammunition capacity, speed, things like that, there is an option for you in that state. You just gotta choose the right one on the website. But it's definitely a good piece of the arsenal, not the only piece, but worth exploring if you are looking for another little thing to help your personal security.